being said, welcome into the Sports Shuffle. Yes. I am flying Ryan Gilchrist along with
Ample Motor Mouth, Joel Verlin.
Joel. Found the fun of making shorts, so there are a few of those out there, some of which I really enjoyed because they stand for what I believe in, and that is deeply posters that just say expletives about
And,
quarterbacks.
and and did you see Coach Callahan trying to diplomatically explain Cam Horn's comments, trying to say he's young, he's the face of the franchise, he doesn't understand, words,
I
and
mean, first of all, he's clearly an ass. But he is the face of the franchise, but he owned having a bad performance. I don't really think that's a bad thing. Going up and saying it was ass might not be the best way to do it, but I mean, I still think that's going to be one of his career highlights at this point, or at least for this year.
that would be definitely some of the shifts where both of us used to be employed a long time ago could have been described.
Yeah, that whole place was definitely described by the word ass. Anywho,
There were some cool people. There were some cool people.
yeah, cool people, still not a fun job. Still not a cool job. Um,
Yeah, I know because I'm surf the Reddit and all that, and I saw somebody that was asking, and you know the pain, and I know the pain because we've both been there. That they were asking. I think this is like a new employee. They're going, "Do you have to ask everybody who goes through the line for a credit card?" And I just had like immediate flipping flashbacks, as I'm sure when you're going like you're going, no.
I don't want to think about it. Technically speaking, no, you don't. It's only when you're prompted. But they would like it if you did. And if you do, you'll get an extra 12 cents an hour. Anyways, let's talk some football.
I
Because
know. Since yeah, oh yeah, because the other thing that I saw was that you had people I think that were actually at Target like working until like 1:30 in the morning or some ridiculous because of Taylor Swift's new album release.
yeah, it's a big day for Swifties. For people who like real music, Yellow Card has a new album coming out next
Yeah,
week.
I know. I saw a headline that she's not touring or something now because she's tired, and you're like world's smallest violin.
She's been touring for like 3 years. It's fine. Just sit down, enjoy your engagement,
Go go go
and
go go cheer your husband on as he or fiance, I should say, as they try to get back to maybe making the playoffs.
yeah, we'll see. All right, let's talk some news. Chuba Hubbard for the Panthers will be missing
Ooh,
Sunday's game
yeah,
against Miami. That's a big loss.
because he's usually been one of your fallback flexes that you go, well, I always have Chuma Hummer. I'm always ready, and you're just reminded about how every year how ugly, flippin' unbelievably ugly those buys, even though it's just 4 teams. Because going, well, let me start Bijan. Let me start Tucker Craft.
Yeah, a few big ones out this week. It doesn't help when you have the extra injuries. Lamar Jackson out for week number 5. Likely going to be out for week number 6. They have a week 7 bye. So
Bucky Irving might not only miss this week, but also the San Francisco game as well.
yeah, Bucky and Mike Evans both have been
Aging
ruled out for week
Sean
5.
Tucker, please pick up the nearest white courtesy telephone.
Yeah, Evans and Irving out this week, so not ideal for the Bucks. That may or may not impact our picks of the Bucks later on in the show. Brock Bowers lists his question, but is planning on playing despite not really practicing this week. And I think that's it. Pretty much everything else we already knew about. So yeah. All right, let's talk about the game last night. A game that goes overtime that doesn't end in a tie.
Yeah, well, thank God for that. But all of a sudden, can you imagine the Bucks took a little bit of a bath because you saw that money line for the Rams just going. They're like, yeah, the expectation was, well, they're just going to come in here. They're going to absolutely win by however much they want to. They're going to win by manslaughter. And it's not even going to be a game. I don't even see why they're bothering to show up. And then you thought Brock Purdy was going to be starting, but then Matt Jones is playing through the injury, and dude is a warrior.
Yeah, Mac Jones, dealing with a knee injury of his own, did play in this game, played pretty well, 33 of 49 for 342 yards and 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. Leading the 49ers to a 26-23 victory. They got out
4th
early.
and 1 stand. That holy cannoli, just what a finish.
Yeah, that's how the game ends in overtime. Kyron Williams on a 4th and 1 being stopped short. Kyron Williams, we'll get to his game in a little bit, but had a pretty good night, even though he had a costly fumble late in that one.
Because the NFL scriptwriter was like, we're going up against the Red Sox and the Yankees, right? More eyeballs will be on that game than our game. So what we need to do is we need to make this exciting. That's
I
what we
would
need
be
to do.
I would be interested to see how those ratings are because I never once considered watching that baseball game over the
Uh-uh.
football game. Not a single second. I mean, that's just me, though. Christian McCaffrey, 22 of 57 on the ground. Also had 8 for 82 through the air with a receiving touchdown. The leading receiver of the night for both teams was Kendrick Bourne. 10 catches for 142 yards. If you picked him up in desperation and played him, good for you. You had a great night. I was forced into a dynasty league playing Demarcus Robinson, who went 3 for 39, not quite the same. Jake Tonjes, 7 for 41 and a touchdown. The tight end filling in for George Kittle has been pretty good in relief. That's the highlights for the 49ers offense. This was a very good game throughout. Again, 26-23, 49ers overtime win. Matthew Stafford, 30 for 47, 389, and 3 touchdowns.
Puka.
Yeah, Puka, not the leading receiver on the night in yards. That was Devontae Adams, 5 for 88. But Puka, 10 for 85 and a touchdown. The big surprise of the night in the receiving game was Kyron Williams with 8 catches for 66 yards and 2 touchdowns. Not usually his forte. Usually gets it done on the ground. 14 for 65 on the ground with a costly fumble inside the one that would have won them the game if he would have just not lost the ball there and crossed the goal line. Even if he just doesn't lose the ball there, goes down short, they have 2 or 3 more tries added. I believe it was second and goal at the time. Don't quote me on that. But yeah, pretty good competitive game in all fronts. If you had a lot of these guys, Kyron Williams, Matt Stafford, Adams, Puka, going back to the Niners, obviously Christian McCaffrey. Even if you played Mac Jones in the start or Kendrick Bourne, you were very happy with your fantasy night. So a lot of goodness all around in this one. The 49ers finish the game. They are now on top of the NFC West at 4-1. The Rams currently in third at 3-2 behind the Seahawks and at 3-1 and ahead of the Cardinals at 2-2, who both have games to play this week. Also, the first Thursday night game Joel and I have missed on the season.
Wah, wah.
Who would have thought when you're missing your entire offense, Brock Purdy, no George Kittle, no Ricky Pearsall, no Juwan Jennings, no. Who thought that was going to make it better? So Mac Jones looks very, very good in relief. I don't think there's going to be a quarterback controversy. I did hear somebody, I think during the game, like, oh, it might be a quarterback. It's like, you didn't pay Brock Purdy $250+ million to let the 2-year, $7 million a year guy take the job because he's hurt. Brock Purdy's been very good when he's played for the most part, even though he's been playing injured. But I think Mac Jones might be playing his way into that Sam Darnold, Geno Smith, give him a second chance at the starting role kind of role with another team with how good he's been playing for the Niners so far.
And 2 things before we get into the picks for this week. How about this flying? 17 of the top 40 players in PPR ADP are injured or have injured QBs. We are 4 games in.
Yeah, week 4 plus a game, and it's already brutal.
And how about former coach of the Bucks, Bruce Arians, on Shedeur Sanders? You have to like this highlight. He's asking, why is the third quarterback getting interviews? It's got nothing to do with the game. It's all for media clicks.
I'm pretty sure he's now the backup. I'd have to look at the actual depth chart, and I'm going to pull that up here in a second. But with Joe Flacco losing the job to Dylan Gabriel, I think he is actually the backup now. But still, you don't want to hear from the backup quarterback as much as you are. And then when you have him going out and miming answers because someone says, I don't want to hear from the third string quarterback. Well, unfortunately, He's going to be smart enough to mime it. Depth chart for quarterback. Actually, their official depth chart still says Joe Flacco is the number one. So good job, Cleveland. You can't do a jersey reveal, and you cannot update your depth chart, even though they did that with Judkins on time.
Well, there was even a Google goof that still had the Mets in the playoffs flying. So
a goofle. The Mets did not survive.
Yeah.
Yankees over the Red Sox though. So that was something, I guess. I don't know.
You're amazed Boone didn't blow it.
Hey, I don't know. I don't follow baseball as much as I probably should, but the rookie pitcher for New York last night just had a hell of a game. A game that Cam Ward would not call ass. Yeah. Anyways, let's go to the picks. Let's go to week number 5 in full. We have another overseas game, the first of 3 straight weeks with the London
morning that a whole bunch of people are probably going to forget about.
I am going to Halloween Horror Nights tomorrow night, which is why we had to do this tonight. I am not 100% sure when I'm going to be up in the morning on Sunday. So I am going to make sure that any lineup decisions I have to make are made between the time I finish that and the time I go to bed. I know the people I'm going with are typically up early. They're people I work with, and we're up at like 6:30, 7 o'clock. So might still be up early enough. But it is Minnesota at Cleveland. Again, first of 3 straight weeks with a game in London, because the NFL loves the international games, even though the fans probably don't so much love it. Minnesota 2-2. Cleveland is 1-3, and it's been kind of ugly for both teams at times. I mean, Cleveland, again, I've said this multiple times, they should be 2-2 after week 1.
Will there be some weather?
That would be a new one. I don't think we've had a bad weather game in England yet. Not that I can remember. It's very possible. Minnesota.
Because of Imelda just still.
Yeah. It's just shooting out over there. There's always the potential of fun in the tropics down this way this time of year, but it's fun to see that it's happening to England too. Anyways, Minnesota is a 4.5 point favorite in England. For the Vikings, with the bye weeks, there's a very good chance, and I am one of these people between injuries to Chuba Hubbard and some bye weeks, that you are playing Jordan Mason. Not a great matchup. Cleveland is the number 1 defense against running backs, but at the same time, when you're already missing Bijan, you're already missing Josh Jacobs, you're missing whatever Steelers running back, Jalen Warner or Kenneth Gainwell. I can't remember the 4th team on bye offhand, but you're missing those 3. Plus, you've got Chuba. Plus, you've got some other injuries. You might be forced into playing him. You're obviously not going to be sitting Justin Jefferson. You're probably going to be playing Jordan Addison as well. And TJ Hawkinson should at least be in consideration, even though he's been not very, very good. For the Browns, Quinshon Judkins has become a must start at this point. If you're not playing him in your lineups, you are making a mistake. I've got him, Hampton, Scatabo in a dynasty league with Achane, Bucky Irving, and Travis Etienne, and I've had to find a way.
Be one of the coolest names to be able to say this year.
Which one?
Scatabo.
Scatabo? Yeah. I've got that core at running back. It was a full rebuild. I ended up getting some young guys. With Bucky out, it was very easy to put him in, but I am finding a way to put Quinshon Judkins in the lineup because he's been very, very good. Other than that, I mean, you can take a shot at Njoku or Fannin at tight end, and Jerry Jeudy should get a lot more work without Cedric Tillman, who's back on IR. I don't know how good it's going to be. Both defenses are very, very good. This should be an extremely low-scoring game. I think I heard the over-under on this one was 35.5, which is real bad. Anyways, Joel, the Browns being a 4.5 point underdog in London. Who do you got?
Yeah, who would have thought Wentz is the better quarterback, and you're like,
well, we don't know. It is Dylan Gabriel. This could be anything from the same old Browns to what we saw with Jackson Dart for the Giants coming in and just giving them a spark. We'll see.
Better wide receiver core, to be sure. Gotta look to the Vikes.
That one's undoubtable.
Addison, Jefferson. Yeah, Vikes almost came back against the Steelers. Yeah, the Steelers' BS football survived last week. And I think the Vikings are more acclimated to the whole weird-ass time zone thing than the Browns are at this point. And Some quick things before I give you my pick. Isaiah Bond's Roots by week. 1, 23%, 2, 39%, 3, 58%, 4, 71%, and since 1990, flying only 2 offenses have taken more sacks per attempt than the 2025 Vikings, 2002 Houston
Yep.
Texans, and the 2023 New York Giants. That being said, the Browns have the better defense, but I'm picking the Vikings.
Yeah, I'm taking Minnesota as well, mostly because they have been over there for the extra week. They did play in Ireland last week. It's the same time zone. They've gotten used to the environment. They've gotten used to the time change. Cleveland, they're dealing with a rookie quarterback in their first start. Brian Flores is a great defensive coordinator for the Vikings. He's going to get this team ready to go. And I just don't think the Browns have enough. If Dylan Gabriel comes out and he's great, we're both going to be wrong on this one, but I'm going to take Minnesota as well. I do think this is only a 3-point game, though. I think it's going to be a close one with Cleveland just falling a little bit short. Next up, the battle of 3-1 teams that were.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I mean, the next game we're going to talk about is a battle of 3-1 teams as well, but I think people could see that one coming. The Dolphins and Carolina. This one is Houston at Baltimore. Both teams for playoff teams the last couple of years. Houston is a 3.5-point underdog on the road, or at least they were before Lamar Jackson was ruled out. I will have to look and see if that line has moved. I'm sure it has with him officially being ruled out. But Baltimore going to be starting Cooper Rush. I think this is a good thing for Derrick Henry, even though Houston's been good against the running game. Nico Collins and Derrick Henry are must plays in this game. Outside of that, I mean, maybe Woody Marks at running back for the Texans, maybe Mark Andrews or Zay Flowers, but that passing game is going to take a step back, I think, without Lamar Jackson. I think your fantasy options are really just your top two studs, one on each side with Nico and Derrick Henry. After that, there are a little bit of dart throws and maybe Andrews just being a must play in tight end. Both teams 1-3. I'm going to check the line, see how much it's moved with the Lamar Jackson injury being official. Both teams 1-3. Baltimore at home, they have to get a win. Houston on the road, they've looked atrocious other than last week against the Tennessee Titans, who played like ass, as Cam Ward has said. So, who do you got?
Yeah, Ravens, I know you're trying to make the case for the Texans. It's just hard to, as I think even with Rush in at quarterback, Ravens get a rush and they get an ugly win with Henry pounding in the way. I just can't imagine the Ravens get 1-4. I'm picking the Ravens to fly into victory on Sunday.
The Ravens are currently 1.5-point home underdogs when they opened as 3.5-point home favorite. So it's been a 5-point swing with Lamar Jackson out. However, I'm with you. I'm going to take the Ravens as well. Cooper Rush has been good in relief, and I think this forces them to rely on Derrick Henry, to rely on Justice Hill, who could be a sneaky play if you really are desperate in a deeper league. I think it's going to be just fine. Both of these defenses, the Baltimore defense is beat up, but the Houston offensive line is terrible. So that's going to be an interesting battle. I just think Baltimore's got the better coaching, and they've got enough better players that they should be able to get this done. And Derrick Henry historically has just annihilated Houston. So they're going to have to rely on him. I'm going to take Baltimore. I don't necessarily think they are going to cover the 3.5 that they open with, but I think they get the win. Next up,
we go to Carolina.
Another battle of 1-3 teams, and they're just as good, I swear. Miami at Carolina. Miami opened as a 1.5-point road favorite over the Carolina Panthers. For the Panthers, they without Rico Dowdle, I think that line's probably gotten a little bit out of hand. Without Chuba Hubbard, it will be Rico Dowdle. I think Dowdle is a good spot start if you have people on bye or were hit by the injury bug at the running back position. Miami's run defense, we saw it against the Jets, not very good. So I think Rico Dowdle could make some noise. It is Carolina, so temper your expectations. And Tedero McMillan, the wide receiver's position, I think you got to play him at this point. He's been consistently decent and good. He's doing the best he can with the quarterback Bryce Young he's got to deal with. For the Dolphins, you're going to play Achane. At this point, I think Waddle becomes a must-play without Tyreek Hill. And Darren Waller in a spot start, if you want to chase it. He wasn't on the field much, but when he was making an impact against the Jets. his role could expand and get better. I don't know if it's going to be Malik Washington or Nick Westbrook-Akine who fills in that number 2 role behind Waddle. I don't think you want to take the chance on that quite yet. Wait and see how that goes and go from there. Miami 1-3. They typically do very, very good against bad teams, and Carolina is a bad team. But this Dolphins defense is absolutely atrocious. In Carolina, we saw them manhandle the Falcons a couple weeks ago. Is it possible Carolina pulls off another upset here at home?
Yeah, Dolphins better offense without Hill, even without Hill, I should say, as Panthers smarting after last week. I could see a Panthers win here, as I'm not sold on a win one for Hill type deal, but you just have to pick the fish here, and you're looking at Bryce Young as the main reason since entering the NFL. Yards per attempt, 5.7 last. Completion rate, 60.3 last. Passer rating, 77.3 last. And EPA per dropback, minus 0.13, tied for last. And that ain't good. I've got to pick the Dolphins here, and we might be seeing some more helmet slamming.
Yeah, as bad as the Dolphins' defense is, I think Carolina still might be just a little bit worse, and the Dolphins do still have a better offense with Achane and Waddle. So I think the Dolphins, and I think Tua, as much as I dug on Tua, he is a much better quarterback than Bryce Young is, even at this point, even with limited weapons. And I think the Dolphins get it done. They're typically very, very good against bad teams, and this lines up for a Dolphins special where they go out and they look really good, and people go, well, maybe it's just that they played some good teams the first few weeks. I mean, Indy looks like the real deal, and Buffalo, we know what Buffalo is. New England, hey, New England's a pretty good team too. They're 2-2, and they start making those excuses as they do with the Dolphins when they've beaten two really bad teams. So I think Miami gets the win. I think they go for it. I know they got the Saints on the calendar coming up, and they've got another easy matchup. I think Cleveland comes to town fairly soon. So I think there's a way they get to like 4-4, and people go, "Are the Dolphins really bad? Or are they pretty good?" It's like, no, they're pretty bad though. You'll see down the line. Both on Miami. Next up, Las Vegas going to Indianapolis to play the Colts. The Colts are 6.5-point home favorites over the Raiders. For the Raiders, you're going to play Ashton Jeanty. You're going to play Myers. You're going to play Brock Bowers. Trey Tucker could be a flexible depth option, but probably not your best bet. For the Colts, obviously, you're going to be playing Jonathan Taylor. I think Daniel Jones could be a good start once again. I mean, the Raiders defense hasn't been anything spectacular. You have Michael Pittman, who has been very good this season. And, of course, Tyler Warren at the tight end position. As I have a dog going crazy in the background. If you can hear it, he is a corgi.
Yep.
He is 12 and a half weeks old. He is losing his mind. I'm guessing he's by himself. Ignore it. He will stop. Tyler Warren for the Colts as well. Again, the Colts are 6.5-point home favorites over the Raiders. The Raiders 1-3, Colts 3-1. Joel, who do you got?
Yeah, this one is just hard to pick the Raiders. I know that they're scoring more and more. Yeah, but you just have not a lot of hope, much of confidence in them. And I think the Colts bounce back. Indiana Jones legend gets whipped back into shape, and hopefully Mitchell is invisible.
Yeah, hopefully he's not invisible. Hopefully he just takes the ball over the goal line and doesn't fumble and
Holds
cause
on
penalties.
to it.
Yeah, that would be good. Only time will tell on his behalf. I'm also going to take the Colts. I do think the Las Vegas Raiders are in some trouble. Geno Smith has looked absolutely horrible through 4 weeks for the most part. They did get Jeanty going, but I think this Colts defense is going to make some good turnovers, and they're going to take Jeanty in the rushing game at least out of play. He got 2 receptions for 2 touchdowns last week. It wasn't a big receiving game, but it was impactful. I think the Colts move to 4-1.
And we go to Nola.
All right, we go to the game of the week. If you like throwing up.
Oh yeah.
If you like throwing up in your mouth and trying not to get caught, this is the game for you. The New York Giants at 1-3 go to New Orleans to play the Saints, who opened as a 1.5-point home favorite, oddly enough. The Saints have been pretty good in 3 games, even though they've lost. The Seattle game was a disaster. And they've been better at home, so only time will tell. Obviously, the Giants coming off the loss of Malik Neighbors, you're going to have to figure out who the best wide receiver on that team is, whether it's Wan'Dale Robinson, Sterling Shepard, or somebody else. Cam Scatterbo, very good. Put him in your lineups if you can. You might have some options you're a little more confident in, but this could be a week where someone's forced into it and you can be rewarded for it. I think you take a shot on Wan'Dale Robinson as the wide receiver if you're going to in this game. You don't have to, but there are, Terry McLaurin's not going to play again. You could have had, somebody else fall out of your lineup because of injury. Mike Evans, we mentioned. He could be a good spot start in that situation. For the Saints, Alvin Kamara is in your starting lineup as well as Juwan Jennings if healthy. I saw him as questionable most of the week. Haven't seen an update on him today. And then I think Chris Olave, even though he threw an interception last week because they ran a play they shouldn't have, I think he's earned at least flex consideration. Joel, the Saints are 0-4. They're one of 3 winless teams remaining. The Giants are not exactly a juggernaut. So can they get the first win, or the Giants keep it rolling with Jackson Dart?
Saints always play hard, but so do the Giants. Dart just has more ceiling, I think, than Rattler right now. Might be a sneaky spot for a Saints first win, but with these two, who the bleep knows? Interesting. I know if you're an Alvin Kamara owner, if you still have shares of him holding on to the glory days, as a certain Bruce Springsteen song goes, Kendra Miller has as many and more missed tackles forced 12. Then this season, then are you ready? CMC, Josh Jacobs, Cam Scadaboo, Quishon Judkins, Travis Etienne, and or on just 28 rushing yards. And yeah, this is one of those you don't like stats. The Giants have drafted 6 wide receivers and tight ends the first 2 rounds since 2014. 5 out of 6 have suffered season-ending injuries at MetLife Stadium. What doesn't come to an end this week? I think that would be the Saints' losing streak, and I'm picking the Giants.
Yeah, I'm going to take the Giants as well. I just think they have a little too much with Scatterbo, Jackson Dart's moxie. I mean, they did beat the Chargers last week. I think this will be a close game, but not quite a Saints win. Thank God this game's not at MetLife. We can't have any more people get hurt. All right, next up, the Dallas Cowboys go to MetLife. So this is where the injury is going to happen. To play the 0-4 Jets, one of 3 winless teams left in the league. For the Cowboys, Dak Prescott is a must start this week. Javonte Williams, George Pickens, Jake Ferguson, all in your lineups. The Cowboys defense is so bad. Obviously, you're going to play Garrett Wilson, Breece Hall. Justin Fields, I think, is a good start once again. This is pretty much if you have a realistic player on this in this game, you want him in your lineup. Both defenses look real bad. Dallas was a 2.5-point road favorite. After tying with the Packers, are 1-2-1. The Jets are 0-4. Do the Jets get their first win?
Yeah, it's hard to go against the tush push. Eagles get the W, and
different game.
Wrong
game. Dallas Jets.
Yep.
Next up,
we will go back to the game that we're already talking about here. Hey,
we'll talk about the booty bush here in a minute.
Yes. We now resume the pick already in progress after that Pickens game that I am picking the boys. Just because, it means that Dallas gets a win here. And, after Pickens had such a great start last week, that this week probably means he's going to absolutely vanish, or maybe not completely vanish, but maybe let you down a bit, and hopefully you still have Ferguson somewhere until Lamb comes back. That's becoming a very nice target for one Mr. Dak Prescott. I know how this works. I can't trust the Jets, and I think the Cowboys get to 500, and no flipping ties here as we pay attention to the right game this time.
Yeah, Jets suck. They are not going to get this win. The Cowboys will do what they got to do.
End the suffering.
Yeah. I'm just hoping for the Dallas Cowboys' sake they can get out of MetLife this time. They will have to play the Giants there at some point if they haven't already. I don't think that game was in Dallas when they played already. So if they can get out early, without injuries, that's all you can really ask for.
And now we go to the game that I was on before. Hey.
Now we'll talk about the tush push and the Philadelphia Eagles, one of two undefeated teams at 4-0. They are a 3.5-point home favorite over the Denver Broncos. For the Broncos, J.K. Dobbins has been very good, but R.J. Harvey's getting a little more work. Both are in consideration. The Eagles do have a good run defense. I think you can play Bo Nix and Cortland Sutton, and then you have dart throws like Marvin Mims and Troy Franklin. I don't think you want to start them in this one, but they could get one or two big plays and make the day. For the Eagles, Saquon Barkley, you can't bench him. He hasn't been as good as he was last year, but he's still been very, very playable. Hurts, always going to be in your lineup. The tush push touchdown is always in play for him. A.J. Brown, Devonta Smith. I don't think you can bench them, but you probably want to really, really badly. A.J. Brown has disappeared in 3 of the 4 games. Devonta Smith has not been much better. And the Denver defense,
Hey, you
with
know what
Pat
he said about
Surtain
not being welcome.
yeah, I mean, Pat Surtain's going to shut one of these guys down, and the other side of the defense is not exactly a slacking force. So they should be able to shut down the wide receivers. But Dallas Goedert, who's been very, very good at tight end, I think he needs consideration in this one at tight end. Joel, let's hear about your take on the tush push as we had your pick already in progress.
Yeah, we now resume. Yes, as I was saying, it's hard to go against the Eagles tush push as the Eagles get the win as much as my chagrin as a Bucks fan here last week. Yeah, and hopefully AJ knows his role, or at least is maybe not yapping quite as much on social media as he was earlier. As we know, the Eagles, why AJ Brown was yapping was the Eagles did not complete a pass in the second half on Sunday. It's the only game the last 2 years where a team did not complete a second half pass. 16 players had 100 plus receiving yards in week 4. Flying one had 7. A.J. Brown, I'm still picking the Eagles, even though I know you got a bunch of believers out there.
Yeah, I'm going to be a believer this week and take the Broncos. I think this defense is going to stand up and really shut this offense for the Eagles down. The offense, I know they're 4-0. The offense, even in that Bucks game last week, when they scored 31, they had a punt block for a touchdown. It really wasn't a great offensive game. They got some opportunities where they shouldn't have, and they took advantage of them. But they tried to blow this game. This defense has not been shutting people down the way they normally are. And the Denver Broncos look like they're starting to feel like the Denver Broncos from last year. They started to slow a bad game against Tennessee, but the last couple of weeks they've looked much better, even though they lost to the Chargers, beating the Bengals badly, which is what you're supposed to do when you play a bad team. I think the defense is going to be good enough to shut down the Eagles, and the offense is going to be good enough to get them over the hump. I don't see it changing for A.J. Brown, Devonta Smith. So I just, at some point, the Eagles are going to have a really, really bad time. And I kind of think this might be the first one.
And we go to Arizona.
Next up, the 0-4 Titans go to Arizona to play the Cardinals. The Cardinals are 8.5-point home favorites. For the Titans, I don't know if you start anybody here. Maybe Tony Pollard or Alec Ayamander. That's about it. Cam Ward has been, as he said, ass, and we're going to keep him on his bench because that's where he belongs for fantasy. For the Cardinals, I don't know what you do with Marvin Harrison Jr. I think you have to play him, especially in the week where there's buys. He's been inconsistent really, really badly, but this is a good matchup for him. Trey McBride in your lineup, I think, is a good matchup for Kyler Murray. And then that backfield between Michael Carter, Dave Mercado, and another player that's more of an unknown. I don't know. They say it's going to be a 3-headed attack. I think it's just going to be whoever gets the hot hand. Take a shot if you want. With the bye weeks and the injuries, you might have to play some of this matchup again. Trey Benson on IR, James Conner on IR out for the season. Going to be tough in that backfield for a little while for the Cardinals. Joel, do the Titans get their first win, or the Cardinals go to 3-2?
Yeah, no, I think it's another day of ass play for the Titans, and yeah, got to pick the Cardinals here. I know that you look at both teams, and you can't really have a lot of confidence in the Cardinals. And I know that probably said something that may have not been Peggy 18 there, but
I know what you meant
yeah,
by ass
yeah,
play, but ass play can mean something very, very different. He's talking about caliber of play remaining
But
ass, not
yeah,
fingers in places.
we're not going to the other
Clip it.
place. Yeah,
The next short that he runs is going to be the ass play one, and it's going to get us canceled. But
I don't think I'm gonna clip that one.
you
But yeah,
should just, if nothing else, do it for me because I want to see it. Anyways, I'm also taking the Cardinals.
yeah,
I agree with you. The Titans are going to play like ass again.
that's what I was meaning to.
Yes, those are the words he was looking for. The order
A
playing
little bit
like
of a
ass,
Freudian slip there.
playing like ass and ass play are two very different things. One, you can understand the Titans doing. The other one, you'd be a little surprised, especially on the field against the Arizona Cardinals. If that happens, this needs to be an X-rated pay-per-view event, and we don't want that because the NFL is not like it's for
It's
families,
probably
not for other things.
way down on the channels. Like wah, wah.
Yeah, you got to get the swanky music going if it becomes the ass play game. Anyways, we're both on the Cardinals. We're both going to move on to a game that actually will not have any ass play. It is Tampa Bay and Seattle. Both teams 3-1. For the Buccaneers with no Bucky Irving, you mentioned Sean Tucker. Don't forget Rachaad White. I think it's going to be an opportunity for both of them to be good. I would lead Rachaad White in fantasy circles, but Sean Tucker might break out in this game. You don't know. No Mike Evans. You're still going to play Emeka Egbuka. I think Chris Godwin will get more involved this week. He came back last week, wasn't heavily involved, but he was working his way back in. Each week, he should get better and better. And Baker Mayfield's just been too good to not play. I think he's still in your lineup. For the Seahawks, it seems like it alternates between Ken Walker weeks and Jack Charbonnet weeks. The Bucs have notoriously one of the best run defenses, so you're going to play Ken Walker. You're probably not going to like your result if he doesn't get a touchdown. Jackson Smith and Jigba is going to be in your lineup as well. Sam Darnold could be a spot starter this week. And then Torrey Horton, if I can say it correctly, is a weird, deep dart throw kind of player. I know everybody knows Cooper Kupp on that team, but I think Torrey Horton's eventually going to take the role, and they may need him this week to play the Buccaneers. Both teams 3-1. Both teams look like they've got legitimate playoff aspirations. So, Joel, who's got the win here?
Yeah, I know the Bucks just have so many injuries. I think Seahawks D is equal to the Bucks D. Maybe not Legion of Boom, but still pretty good. And I just think the Bucks are in for going a little bit of south as far as the wins go right now. I mean, I think 3-1 could very easily be 3-3 if they're not careful. Because when Bucky Irving missed most of Week 14. Last time around, opportunities were Rachaad White, 11 carries, 1 target. Sean Tucker, 3 carries, 2 targets. And yeah, I know that the Bucks, when they won flying, have been fighting back, trying to overcome adversity. And they were doing that to some effect on Sunday. But I just think the Eagles are too balanced, and the Seahawks are. I'm doing really good today, aren't I?
The Sea Chickens, yeah.
The Sea Eagles, the Sea Eagles. I'm creating a
The
new team here.
Seagulls.
This is what happens when you need more naps. But yeah, the
Ass play. Come
the,
off the rails. We might as well embrace it.
the Seahawks. Yeah, remembering which damn team we're talking about here. I just think the Seahawks, they're less injured, and plus Bucks are going East Coast to West Coast. You got to throw that in a factor. And you got to throw in the factor when you can't remember the damn team's name.
Yeah.
So we're picking the Seahawks. I hope I'm wrong, and the Bucks surprise me, but I just think they're too banged up.
I would agree with you. I take the Seahawks as well. I mentioned in the last one the Bucks for the first 4 weeks under Todd Bowles in 4 years are 11-5. The next 4 weeks, weeks 5 through 8 or 9, depending on when their game actually falls, they are 2-10. And looking at their looking at their schedule, they've got the Seahawks. Next week they've got the 49ers. The week after that they've got the Lions. And then they got the Saints in week 8. So I mean 1-3 in the next 4 weeks seems very, very doable. This is probably one of the more winnable games. I mean, the Saints is obviously the one you got to get. But if you're going to win one of the next 3, this I think is the most likely one, but I don't think they get it. I'm going to take Seattle as well.
And we're going to Cincinnati so I can remember the right team name.
Yes, the Bengals, 8.5-point at the open, home underdogs to the Lions. I would be taking the points personally. The Lions 3-1, Bengals 2-2, but they have looked absolutely terrible without Joe Burrow. For the Lions, fire them up. If you've got anybody from this team that is relevant,
Sam
Jared
Laporta,
Goff,
Jameson
Sam
Williams,
Laporta, yeah, Jameson Williams, obviously Amon-Ra St. Brown, both the running
even
backs,
David
Monty.
Montgomery, who was invisible last week.
Hey, this is the game. Monty will get a touchdown. Gibbs will get. This is one where the Lions did this last year, where a couple times it was like they put up 40 plus points, and it seemed like everybody got one. So if you had Jared Goff, you were very, very happy. And if you had any of those players, you at least had a good game. It might not have been the best week winning kind of game, but you had a good time with anybody. For the Bengals, it's hard to say bench Jamar Chase, but we're getting close. Now, the Lions defense is very, very good, but they will likely be up by a lot, and there might be some garbage time goodness for Jamar Chase. Other than that, I don't think you go anywhere in this lineup. T. Higgins, I saw him dropped in the 10-team league because there's not a lot of hope with Cincinnati right now. There just really isn't. Joel, I think I know where you're going because Cincinnati's looked like the worst team in football since Joe Burrow got hurt. But I got to ask the question, who you got?
Because you're imagining this matchup as two fierce jungle animals facing off against each other. I'm trying to make up for some of these last bits here. Facing off against each other to see who will be king of the jungle here. And yeah, I just have to ask, will the Bengals do anything else besides look horrid? The answer to that is probably not. You just asked about should you bench Jamar Chase, and the reason why you're asking that is because how about his weekly wide receiver finish in 9 games with Jake Browning as the starter, or playing within the majority of the snaps? Are you ready?
Yep.
40th, 33rd, 6th, 57th, 34th, 54th, 57th, 3rd, 41st, and 61st. Yeah, those are not first pick numbers that you're usually used to.
Yeah, if there's a way to trade him, you do it at this point. I've seen him go for. I mean, they're asking questions about Quentin Johnston for Jamar Chase straight up.
And
I don't know if I can do that. Like my soul would hurt if I did that. I don't think you made the pick, but I know where you're going with it. But officially, I know you're taking Detroit.
yep. I don't see that you have to be smoking something to take the Bengals, I think, this week.
I think if the Bengals were 21-point favorites, I would take the points in this one. I
And
don't see this being close. I do see Cincinnati being at least semi competent on offense and getting maybe 17 points. So maybe this is one of those Jamar Chase games where he does finish in the top. At least he's playable. But Jake Browning needs to get something going. But I just think, again, I think whoever you play from the Lions is probably going to get some points this week. I
and
wouldn't be surprised if everybody at the top 5 on their offense gets a touchdown.
and besides Jamar Chase, Chase Brown is the only running back
You can't play
averaging
him.
less yards per catch than Zach Charbonnet, 2.4.
Yeah, you can't play him either. He's been atrocious all year. You cannot play him. Like Jamar Chase, if you're looking at just purely numbers, you probably need to bench him. But when you look at the name Jamar Chase and you look at your bench, and I mean, I can look at one of my options this week because I have Drake London in this league. He is on bye. So I've got Jamar Chase. I have to play 2 of these, by the way. Jamar Chase, Wan'Dale Robinson. I had Ricky Pearsall, who was out. I've got DJ Moore, who's been atrocious, and then I'm waiting on Rashee Rice to come back from his suspension in a couple weeks. It's not looking good. So there are places you just have to suck it up and play him and hope for the best. And I'm going to hope that he does well. But the Lions are going to just absolutely steamroll in this game.
And we go to Charger Land.
Yep, Los Angeles Chargers hosting the Washington Commanders. Jaden Daniels will be back for this one, so that should put some intrigue into this game. Chargers open as a 3.5-point home favorite. The Washington Commanders 2-2. Chargers 3-1, coming off the loss to the Giants. For the Commanders, you're going to play Deebo Samuel. You're going to play Jaden Daniels. That running back's been very, very difficult. I think Bill Krosky's going to have a good game this week. I don't know why. It's just a hunch. Zach Ertz at the tight end position has been viable for a while. All of those players can be in your lineup. For the Chargers, Quentin Johnson, you can't bench him at this point. As much as you have been seeing him for 2 years drop the ball and just not be worth it, he's been outstanding. The wide receiver 4 on the season so far. You got to play him. Keenan Allen, again, you have to play him. I think Lad McConkey is a bench. I just do. There's going to be a lot of people that play him with the bye weeks and injuries, but it's not a great look. Amari Hampton and Justin Herbert in the lineup as well. Joel, big game. I think this could be one of the higher scoring games of the week with 2 explosive offenses. Who do you got?
Chargers running back snaps in the first game without Najee Harris flying after the torn Achilles. Ouch. Omarion Hampton, 56. Haskins, 5. Vidal, 2. Yeah, and you're talking about Bill. You're talking about Bill.
Bill.
5.9 YPA first. 38% first down rate first. 72% success rate first. 14% explosive rate 7th. I think it's safe to say you're playing Bill. And I just think this is a good bounce back game for the Chargers here. Commanders reeling a bit. Even with Daniels back, no Scary Terry. I think it's time to take advantage of that. Commanders are just a little bit thin at wideout.
I'm still going to take the Commanders. I think Jaden Daniels just puts too much of a wrinkle into this offense, and we saw what a running quarterback, even in Jackson Dart's case, who is not Jaden Daniels, did to this Chargers defense last week. He really got them off balance, and I think they have better offensive weapons even without Terry McLaurin. I think the Commanders have better weapons than the Giants do, so I think it's going to be an offensive game, and I think that the Commanders get it done. This should be one of the better games of the week. Next up, it's New England at Buffalo. New England. Is it time to start TreVeyon Henderson? I'm not sure, but he did have his first touchdown last week. He may be in lineups this week. I've got him in a couple lineups where I've got him. Stephon Diggs had a good week. I can't really recommend too many Patriots just because Buffalo's defense should dominate in this game. But Drake May at quarterback has been very good on the season. For Buffalo, you're going to play Josh Allen. You're going to play James Cook. Don't think about those. And then you've got Keon Coleman, Khalil Shakir, and Dalton Kincaid that are all at very least in consideration, if not in your lineups. Buffalo, one of 2 teams at 4-0. The Patriots, 2-2. Joel, who do you got?
Yeah, I think this one's pretty easy. I know you can have all the hype out there for Drake May and the Patriots, who have been definitely looking better. But like I said in the last episode, we're still trying to figure out what this 2025 identity for the Patriots is going to be. As I don't think we've been waiting all day for this one. I think the Pats put up a fight, but the Bills are just they just outnumber the Pats. Bills outnumber them on both sides of the ball, and the Bills are going to look really freaking sweet in the cold front uni. I mean, have you seen them? Those uniforms look super awesome.
Yeah, another one of the rivalries jerseys that this one came out really, really good. It's the only light one that I think really hits for Buffalo. The Patriots have their own. It's like a weird off blue for them. The Jets one looks like crap. The Seahawks one is decent. Anyways.
No. You said the wrong team name. You mean the Sea Eagles.
Sea Eagles. Yeah, I think Buffalo wins in those nice jerseys. I think they dominate this game. It's not too close.
You're still starting Drake May because the only quarterback with 20-plus fantasy points in 4-point leagues each of the last 3 weeks has been Drake May.
Yeah. He's too good to bench, but it's one of those situations where, kind of like Patrick Mahomes we'll talk about, there's not one clear option at wide receiver that's so good you have to play. It's kind of just the combination, the amalgamation of the players. All of a sudden, the stats accumulate, and the quarterback had a great day, but all the receivers just were but it adds up when you have a lot of guys at 3 for 45, 3 for 42, 3 for 37 and a touchdown. It just adds up to a good day for Drake May somehow. Last game,
we're going to Duval.
Kansas City goes to Jacksonville as 3.5-point road favorites at 2-2 against the 3-1 Jacksonville Jaguars. For the Chiefs, you're going to play Patrick Mahomes. You're going to play Xavier Worthy. Possibly end of list. Travis Kelce's been MIA all season long. I don't think that gets a whole lot better. Juju Smith-Schuster, Hollywood Brown, spot start desperation plays are definitely possible there. And Tyquan Thornton, he's gotten a touchdown each of the last 3 weeks, so worth mentioning his name. Don't know if that continues. His role definitely diminished with Xavier Worthy back. He was great in relief, but I don't think he's going to be worthwhile in the next few weeks unless there's another injury on that roster. For Jacksonville, Travis Etienne is a top 10 running back once again. You're going to play him. You got to keep playing Brian Thomas Jr. Has been bad, but it hasn't been as bad as some of the other receivers. Eventually, they're going to get back on the same page. I don't think this is a good spot to play Trevor Lawrence. I don't think you can play Travis Hunter, but Brenton Strange at the tight end position is an interesting play as well. Chiefs, again, 3.5-point road favorites. Joe, who do you got?
Yeah, I think first off, I'm just have to let me give thanks that this only a one game Monday night schedule. Thankfully,
This week.
we haven't seen the last doubleheader, but at least it's only one flipping game, and you're not going like, okay, hey, we have 2 games that suck, or 1 game that does suck, and then 1 game that doesn't suck. Yeah, but I think the Chiefs are back with 2 in a row. I mean, I won mine and Jags win here, but it's just hard going against Patrick Mahomes. Just somehow does the flipping impossible with not a whole lot of weapons around him, and slowly but surely he's getting Worthy back. Rashid Rice soon is going to be back before you know it, and the battle station will be fully operational and ready to blow apart opponents, and they're somehow doing it even when it's not fully operational. And interesting stat: only 2 players have 15 plus targets and a passer rating when targeted more than 39.6 when a quarterback receives from simply spiking the football into the ground on every play. That'd be Jerry Jeudy 26 and Travis Hunter 37.5. Like I said, I'm picking the Chiefs. My other thought with this game is I know Travis Hunter is trying to do the whole play both ways thing, offense and defense. I really wish he would get good on offense, concentrate on that, and then go to defense.
Yeah, I think unfortunately for Travis Hunter and his fantasy value, he is needed more on defense right now, so he's going to play more defense than we might like him to do. I know there's been a couple injuries in their secondary, and that's forcing their hand. So he's not on the field as much as he had been in the wide receiver position, and that may change with people coming back. I'm taking Jacksonville in this one. I think Jacksonville's got the number 1 defense for fantasy in the NFL so far. I think they keep the Chiefs' offense at bay, and I think they do just enough. Travis Etienne has not really been stopped all season long, and if they commit to stopping him, this has to be the breakout for Brian Thomas Jr. I just think the Jags are a better team than we realize. I think the Chiefs are a flawed team, and I'm going to take the Jags in an upset at home. By the way, next 2 weeks, doubleheaders on Monday night.
Ugh.
Yay. So with that, let's go to final thoughts, and we'll start with Joel.
All right, my final thoughts just have 3 just real quick ones. No theses, I promise. First one is: has the UFC scheduled the fight between Cohen and Salah yet?
That would be fun.
2, we will always remember Week 4 for Adonai Mitchell personally costing the Colts 14 points, and they lost the game by 7.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll definitely remember the Brees Hall quote: "Team shoot themselves in the foot. We come back and shoot ourselves in the head." Fun fact: they really do shoot themselves. Yeah, Jets are 0 for their last 101 on recovering fumbles. Let me say that again: Jets are 0 for their last 101 on recovering fumble. It's got to be hard to remember a quote. Then that one, as well as how did you play? We played like ass. You gotta love it. So yeah, Hall should definitely get some extra fantasy points for that quote. And those are my final thoughts.
Yeah.
As well as Sea Eagles.
Sea Eagles. My final thoughts is just going to be talking about hockey for a minute. Hockey season does start in about a week. I think Tampa Bay's home opener is October 9th. I know the Sharks are around that time. I have fandom of a lot of crappy teams right now. The Rays being maybe the best of the big ones. I don't really follow the basketball that much. Obviously, when I'm wearing a USF hat, they're having a pretty good season in college football. And the Dolphins 1-3. The Sharks, they're probably not going to be good this year, but they've built a very nice, young, talented core that just needs time. And there's some of those advanced analytics that say Macklin Celebrini is more efficient than Connor McDavid on creating on the rush. And this guy, the Michael Misa, I think is his name, who we just got, is one of the most skilled players that's entered the league in several years. It could be one of those things. I don't think it's this year, but I'm going to say in the next 3 to 5 years, the Sharks are going to be in a Stanley Cup final once again. Probably on the back end of that. But it's good to have hope for one of your crappy teams because the Dolphins, I think they're about to tear things down. The Rays, new ownership. That's exciting. We might actually see players like Randy Arozarena stay there and play out their career in front of fans that love them instead of trading them to whoever they want to trade him to. We saw it with Luongo and Crawford and Garza and Price and go down the line. Rays legends that were there for like 3-4 years and then
book out there, Jonah Carey 2%, or if you've read it, that it really breaks down the Rays' general philosophy, and that's a part of it.
So we're really, really hoping for the Rays. They start building and keeping the players and paying their players and hopefully putting the stadium in a place where people actually want to go to because downtown St. Pete's a pain. But hockey's on the horizon. It is my favorite sport to watch. It's my favorite sport to follow. But I know the market is not out there to listen to people talk about hockey the same way as football. And we both like football pretty damn good. So for those of you who celebrate happy hockey seasons, who is on the horizon, and those of you who root for crappy teams like San Jose, Chicago, Anaheim, good luck. I do think at least San Jose is primed to take a noticeable step forward this year. Although if they don't, they'll get another great player in the draft, and then they'll be one step closer to that giant step forward. All right, that is it for our time. We're back next week to talk about week number 6. It's already almost a third of the way through the regular season. It's crazy. It's going that quickly.
Hopefully with more naps.
Hopefully with less injuries. Let's just go there. And be careful with what you say because sometimes you drop an ass play that you don't mean to drop. I am Flying Ryan Gilchrist along with Mr.
Let me explain myself. Tampa Motormouth Joel Verlin.
And with that, we gone.